In this video, I'm going to be using the Midas pen to help me take some notes for my university lectures. The pen connects very simply to your device. You simply tap the top of the pen and you're ready to get started almost immediately. When beginning my note-taking, a personal preference of mine is to paste in a pre-typed title. This just saves me a lot of time where I don't have to handwrite a title for my studies, and I'm not stressing about how aesthetically my handwriting is and how well it's going to look. I personally like to take notes in the form of a mind map, so I place my subject in the centre of the page, then I write around everything I need to know about this particular subject. A handy little tip I have is using grid lines in your application so that you have those nice clear straight lines for when you're taking notes, similar to how you would in a notebook. So now I'm getting right into the note-taking aspect. What's great about writing notes on an iPad in comparison to your standard pad or notebook is that you can really zoom in, zoom out. You can have so much control over how much you can write on a page, what colour you want your text to be, and you don't have to have all this equipment with you. You simply need one pen. The Midas pen would be my recommendation. But yeah, it's very easy to get started, which I sometimes find is the hardest part about studying, is just getting into it. But this just makes the whole process so simple and so enjoyable, and I think it goes a lot quicker. When I'm studying, I always group similar topics together, and then I have small little subheadings in which I write everything I would know about that. For each subheading, I like to do it in a different colour, because what I learned in psychology is that things such as colour and also pictures, they will help you remember the information more because you have a particular association to the information through the use of colour. So yeah, I always like to use different colours. I personally like to use colours of the same category, so here I'm using a lot of blues and purples and cool tones, but you can go crazy using bright, bold colours, whatever you think is going to help you remember the most. This is what I always struggle with normal note-taking, is like having all the pens that you might need, because I'm a very visual learner and I kind of need stuff to be bright and ready for me, otherwise I'm not going to remember just a pencil and pen. Here I went on a quick 5-minute coffee break just to rejuvenate my senses for learning, and as you can see, the Midas pen was fully charged in that short little break, so that's a really cool feature. It has a 5-minute charging, and that is going to last you 8 hours. So even if you forgot to charge your pen the night before or haven't charged it in a couple of days, you know that it's ready to go after 5 minutes, so you don't really have to have that worry like, oh, I forgot to charge it, now I can't do any work, because it just does charge super quick, which is a really cool feature. Additionally, there are some more really cool features. As you can see here, I'm laying my palm right on the screen of my iPad, and due to the Midas's pen's palm rejection feature, is not causing any interruption to the text that I'm writing and not causing any awkward lines or marks on my notes, which some other pens I've used have. Another great feature is the tilt sensitivity, so you're going to have these really smooth and nice lines as you're writing. I honestly could not recommend this pen enough. It's really changed the way that I take my notes. I always used to do it hand physically and it would take me hours and hours and hours, but when writing digitally, it just goes so much quicker because you don't have to carry all this equipment with you, get everything out, make sure you have all the pens. It's all just in this one place, in this one amazing pen. So thank you for studying with me. I'm coming to the end of my note-taking. Got all the information I need on this one lovely spread that I can save and look back on when I need. Today I'm going to be working with the Midas pen, a super affordable digital pencil that is perfect for creating illustrations, sketching, taking notes and much more. To get started, you simply have to click the top of the pen and you're ready to go. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how I use the pen for an illustration, along with some tips and tricks I've picked up along the way. I always start my drawings with a very rough sketch. Here, this is the layer I've done in red. It consists of simple shapes and structures to help build a foundation of the layout. This helps act as a clear guide so I can refine the drawing later. My refinements are done in blue. I use the different colours to help me distinguish between them as I work. The Midas pen is great for creating these quick motion lines that is ideal for rough sketches. What stands out though is the high precision that allows you to create very detailed and intricate lines, making it easy to bring your ideas to life. As you can probably tell, I'm drawing a couple of jellyfish swimming under the water. After setting the tone with a blue wash, I start to add colours that bring the jellyfish to life. My focus is on building depth. I do this by layering soft, translucent strokes on the main body. Using the tilt sensitivity feature, I can smoothly shade areas for a more natural and flowing look. I also use the Midas pen's precision to add highlights, creating a reflective glow on the jellyfish's translucent bodies. I can create delicate soft lines for the tentacles that give them this almost ethereal quality. These highlights contrast beautifully against the deeper, darker tones, making the jellyfish feel like they're truly floating in the water. Some of my best advice for starting digital drawing is to treat the iPad and the Midas pen like a normal pen and paper. You'll soon realise how many transferable skills there are from traditional drawing onto digital drawing, making the whole process simple and easy. The Midas pen is going to be a great way for you to get started, as it has everything you could possibly need in a digital pen, and it allows you to do so much with your drawings and take them to a very high level. Focusing back on the drawing, you can see now that I'm trying to enhance the background using the watercolour tool to create an ambience. I'm adding subtle gradients and textures to the background that help mimic the feel of water. By doing so, I've placed my jellyfish in a more dynamic environment where this blending of colours in the background creates a sense of depth that makes the scene more immersive and visually appealing. Another really cool feature is that I'm allowed to rest my hand on the iPad while I'm focusing on fine-tuning these details, like the highlights of the jellyfish or these cute little bubbles in the background. This helps add a sense of realism to the piece as I continue to create a dynamic contrast between the light and shadow. Some other really cool features of the pen that are worth mentioning are a magnetic attachment, so you can keep your pen and your iPad together for convenience. Additionally, it charges super quick, so after 5 minutes of charging you can begin using the pen with your iPad. Therefore, you're never really far from being able to create, so your tool is not going to hold you back from creating. So whether you want to create these quick sketches or maybe make a more detailed piece like this, then the Midas pen is going to give you that flexibility and control that you need to bring depth and life to your artwork. I highly recommend the Midas pen whether you're getting started or have been drawing for years. It's a perfect tool for everyone to have. Today I'm going to be using my iPad in combination with the Midas pen to show you just how easy it is to edit your photos on Photoshop. To get started, I get the pen straight out of the box, tap on the top, and it's ready to go. That's how simple it is to get started with your Midas pen. I start by opening the image I want to edit, looking through my files and just grabbing the one that I want to work on right now. When using Photoshop, I always want to start off by using the spot blending tool to remove all the imperfections in the background of my images, particularly ones like this where it's a very plain background and the background is not the subject of the image. It's just very handy to neaten up the background very early on within the image editing, as it's going to become kind of a pain to do later on when you've got so many edits and so many changes within the image. So yeah, you can just see here how simple it is to use the Midas pen. So just simply tap away these little bits of imperfections within my image. The precision of the pen really aids this and really makes it super simple and super easy to get rid of all of this, which might have been quite hard to do on a computer. The next part I do is I want to get rid of this harsh line and create a smooth blend between the two surfaces. So I begin by using the spot blending tool again and start to remove that line. But as you can see, it still kind of leaves with kind of a harsh transition. So I take the brush tool and I use the colour above and bring it down below, so that I'm almost creating this transition between the light and the dark, creating this almost seamless transition where it appears that there isn't meant to be a line. The Midas pen is really good for this, as it's very much like drawing on your image, so it's very handy to use a pen, where perhaps if you were previously just using Photoshop on your computer, tapping away with the mouse is quite difficult to do in this format. Also, there might be other different ways, perhaps generative AI or different ways you could remove this within Photoshop. I always thought this is a really hands-on and like practical way, and I like having the control over my image. So yeah, I then edit it and crop it to the right dimensions just to make sure the subject is in the center of the image. This is where I decided to be more experimental with what my image is going to look like, and I wanted to explore the use of colour. So I'm just exploring the features now, messing with the hue, saturation, brightness, contrast, creating all these different layers to kind of transform my image into something new. I think if you're ever stuck with how you want to edit your image, it's really good to play around with all these different features that Photoshop has to offer. And using the Midas pen just makes that really simple, as you can kind of turn things down, turn it up very easily using the pen. You have so much control with the pen that it just makes it such a fun little experimentation within the app. So you can really transform your image. I chose to take this quite turquoise colour, as it's quite drastically different to the brown that it was before, and I just quite liked how it stood out against the white background. You can see now I'm starting to explore the use of highlights within the image. So I'm taking the dodge tool and making it so I can bring out the whites and the highlights, just to enhance the textural kind of surface of the image and the pieces within it. I then kind of do the same. I'll bring you in. I wanted to create darkness within these crevices, just so there's a bigger contrast between the light and the dark. I started out using the brush tool, but it wasn't really working, so I transformed and changed my way into using the burn tool, which worked a lot better. I then created more little enhancements and highlights just to bring out that texture even further. At this point, I was thinking I really liked where my image was, so I decided to leave it there, and you can see the difference from the start to the end, where I really changed it, changed its colour, experimented, played around, and just had fun with creating.